really weird gimmicks. So we were all dressed up in some sort of costumes, and one of us was the butcher. So obviously he had to bring a lot of meat with him. So and at some point there was a battle royal, and yeah, at some point in there when I was in my, I even forgot what costume that was I was in. When I looked at my friend, that was the butcher, and he stood in front of me with a giant turkey leg, and there was ground meat all over that ring.
What's going on, wrestling fans? It is I, Steve Fall, and welcome to 10 Count right here on Wrestling News Co. On today's edition, I'm talking to a man who I've interviewed not once, not twice, but 3 times already. Fourth today, it's the Intercontinental Champion. It's Gunther. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. How are you? I'm glad to be here for the fourth time, as we just
Fourth time.
established.
You beat Drew McIntyre. You know, he was at 3, but you just won the championship. I'd hate it to you, but Zoom doesn't have that technology yet.
That's okay, but that's not the first time I've beaten Drew McIntyre or something, so it's okay.
Oh, wow. I love it so much. Before we get into Survivor Series, I want to ask a question about where's the strangest place you've ever wrestled?
The strangest? Oh, I had a few. Um, there was a thing called Rock and Roll Wrestling Bash, and the concept was there's a live band, obviously, that plays metal, and there's wrestling going on during the concert. Like there was a ring in the middle of the crowd. Um, that wasn't that strange, but the idea of the promoters that everybody has like really weird gimmicks. So we were all dressed up in some sort of costumes, and one of us was the butcher. So obviously he had to bring a lot of meat with him. So and at some point there was a battle royal, and yeah, at some point in there when I was in my, I even forgot what costume that was I was in. When I looked at my friend, that was the butcher, and he stood in front of me with a giant turkey leg, and there was ground meat all over that ring. It was absolutely disgusting. It was one of the few occasions where I asked myself, where I asked myself, like, what am I even doing here? It's like, well, what is this? But glad I did it. Like that was fun while doing it.
Wow. All right. I think you've won. I've heard some doozies recently, and I think you've won. The fact that you're wrestling on ground beef might be, the chalk up of strangest place you've ever wrestled. Man, that is nuts. But next week, Survivor Series on Peacock, NBC's Peacock, on November 25th. I am pumped. I'll be there live watching you smack around The Miz. But The Miz is an 8-time Intercontinental Champion. If he does beat you, he ties Chris Jericho for 9 reigns, which is the most there ever has been. But you are the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. So heading into this matchup, how do you feel about The Miz as a person, as a wrestler?
Tricky one, huh? I feel like when I grew up, like as a wrestler, not as a kid, but when I was wrestling and diving in deep and trying to get better and stuff, I don't know, I despised WWE at that point because I didn't like watching it. I was focused on I want to be a wrestler and I want to be, yeah, want to focus on the athleticism, and everything around it was, yeah, too much tra-ra for my personal taste in that time. And I think in the in the internet wrestling bubble during the time, I don't know what the year it was. Um, like there was a sentiment towards the company that programming right now is not really good and we don't enjoy it. And for me, Miz was always like the embodiment of that era, that feeling that I had. Nevertheless, to say it's obviously a big challenge for me because I'm not the typical WWE guy in that sense. It's like I developed my style, my character, I developed all of that outside of WWE. Even though I was in NXT, I wasn't the programming, I was never really in their system. On the other side, we have Miz, who is somebody who's a prime example of how effective that system can be and how successful. I mean, the guy was basically like not a wrestler before they picked him up, and it turned out he has one of the most successful careers anybody has ever had in that company. That's to be respected. Um, but times changed, his business changed, and I don't believe into you have to grit your teeth in this company to actually come in at some point, have an impact, and have a status. Uh, yeah, being an outsider more or less, and that's what I am. And that's why I think it's a pretty interesting matchup here to compare that whole thing a little bit. That being said, Miz obviously is everything that I think a wrestler should not be. Um, he's a goof, he's a clown. He gets in there and yeah, pulls off his show and makes sure the focus is on him and on him alone. I go up there and I think the focus should be on that ring, on that sport, on that whole environment we have here. It's like it's an honorable thing. Um, yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting in the ring with the Miz and yeah, make him understand and feel what it means to be in the ring with myself.
Yeah, I can't imagine take one of those slaps. I interviewed you at SummerSlam, and I asked if random people just come up to you and ask to be slapped, and you said no, but I still feel like they do, and you were lying to me. And the Miz is going
Yeah,
to get slapped around at Survivor Series because, again, longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Like Honky Tonk Man held that reign for decades. And now here you are heading into Survivor Series, one of the biggest events of the year, in Intercontinental Champion. It's going to be an outstanding matchup because Miz, former world champion, Money in the Bank winner, IC champion. Like he's done everything. But here you are
yes.
doing something no one's ever done, longest IC champion of all time. But moving on from that, though, there's many matchups everyone obviously wants you to be involved with. But I don't think there's a bigger matchup in the WWE right now that hasn't happened. You versus Roman Reigns. Is this on your checkoff list of things to do? Because it seems like there's no bigger match in the WWE right now than that one.
Yeah, this or Brock is the usual other mention in that question. We'll see. Time will tell, I say to this, because it's not on my, I don't know, it's nothing where I go, I need to do this now, that has to happen now, anything like that. I'm focused on what I do now. Do I think in the long run it would be a very interesting match? I think so, yeah, because I think what Roman is to the Universal title now is what I am to the Intercontinental Championship. I think the role or the position is very similar to that. But he's doing his thing now. I do my thing. That's okay for me. And further down the line, that's definitely something interesting to get into.
Right, because you're both on incredible championship runs right now. So having you collide, just be like, oh, it'd be insane. And is the goal for you right now, heading into, we're in December, we're heading into WrestleMania season soon. Is the goal for the Intercontinental Championship to main event one of the nights of WrestleMania for you?
No, because that's not gonna happen. That's
The tag team
uh,
titles, though, main evented this past year, and that has been
um
that's insane.
that is very true. But it's also if you look at the situation back then, if Roman wouldn't have held both belts, then or both titles, then we would not have had that main event, I think. I think the situation is very different now. I think Seth is on a very good run right now, and obviously there's Roman. So I think the two main events are pretty set, um, which it should be. The Intercontinental Champion, which is the number two title on Raw. Obviously, I give it my best, and I do everything I can to make it feel like the number one. But I think there's a ranking system and everything for a reason. I think it's quite obvious that I outgrew the Intercontinental Championship already. Like I am ready to make that next step. Um, but I'm first and foremost, I'm also a realist. And I don't really get butthurt about that or anything like that. That I cannot be in the same position as Roman right now, for example. So that's totally okay for me. And for me, it doesn't really matter for me where I am on the card because I'm fairly confident that most of the times when I'm on a card and I have a title match, that people will be going, yeah, leaving the building talking about my match regardless. So I'm
Of
good with
course,
it.
of course. Though recently you did main event at Raw where you defeated Chad Gable in one of the best matches of the year, and yet the highlight, I think, was, unfortunately, I have children, so it was a little sad too. Chad Gable's children are crying front row. And did that bring you joy as a performer, as a bad guy on television?
Yeah, it did definitely. I love a good heartbreak. That's one of the best things that can happen in our industry is people really believe in one thing and then it doesn't happen and there's a major heartbreak and you can just see on all their faces that yeah, that touched them. So
Yes. Yes, it did. We're all people at home are like, oh, it's Chad Gable's time, and then obviously you continue on. But yeah, that child moment. Oh my God. With Imperium though, I've asked before about Samantha, one of the best ring announcers of all time, joining Imperium. But let's talk about active wrestlers in a fantasy scenario here. If there is a woman on the main roster right now that could possibly fill an application to join Imperium, who would you like that person to be?
I think I had the question before. And I think I answered back then. Like we discussed it internally once. I think our choices would be either Charlotte or Io. Those would be the ones that we could see as a good fit, especially skill wise. Yeah, I think that would be a good addition.
Oh, that'd be great. And obviously in wrestling, it's not ballet and it's a sport and injuries happen. What is your worst injury in professional wrestling?
Um, I'm very lucky. Like I never had a major injury. I think. Let me think. I had my meniscus fixed. I think 2 years ago or 2.5 years, and I think that was the worst thing that happened to me so far. So I'm either very fortunate and lucky, or my style is very smart to stay injury free. That's the two options here. But yeah, knock on wood.
I was
So it
gonna say
doesn't.
you should probably find some wood right now because you think
Yeah,
I think you just jinxed yourself a little bit on that
there
one.
you go.
Though recently you said the Ultimate Warrior, he's a showman, not a professional wrestler. Now,
Yeah, are you gonna ask me if I really meant that?
no, I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
I don't Ultimate Warrior, who he is outside the ring and who he is inside the ring. It's none of my business. I just want to ask you about some other Intercontinental champions. A quick rapid fire, give you one. You tell me what do you think of them. Don't worry, I won't ask about Ultimate Warrior. Uh
Okay.
Razor Ramon.
Yeah, I
You
like
like
Razor Ramon a
you like
lot.
him.
Yeah, it's always fantastic.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, elite.
So we're approving these people so far. Jeff Jarrett.
Uh, I think so. I got to meet him a few times, and I think he's one of the smartest guys in this sport because we have the yeah, we have 2023, and he's still in a very good position at another company. And I think having a career that long and being all kind of positions this business has to offer, um, yeah, congratulations to that career. He really figured it out.
And final one, The Rock.
Yeah, I say this that I think if he's the new Hulk Hogan, I think in terms of if you ask random people on the street in some random country, they will say The Rock and connect it with wrestling. Um, the most famous, but I categorize him as a showman as well.
Oh no. Did you really mean that, Gunther? Did you really mean calling him a showman?
I do, yes.
Have people given you crap over that Ultimate Warrior comment? You kind of has this happened to you today?
No, literally not.
Oh, I'm like, really? Like, listen, there's a different time and era for everything, but
No, somebody at work came up to me and went like, "Hey, that was funny. It's like, did you mean that?" They're like, "Yeah, of
yeah,
course I mean that.
yeah. He wasn't
I don't
having
lie.
technical matches,
I
like
don't lie."
or cheat or steal, maybe. Maybe Eddie Guerrero taught you something. Though there's so many things happening in Survivor Series coming up. And what can fans expect from tuning into Survivor Series? Because you have War Games, Intercontinental Championship, you have Zoe and Rhea. There's so much happening. So if someone's going to tune into Peacock on NBC on November 25th with their family, gather around, family. It's Thanksgiving weekend. What do fans expect when they tune in to a WWE premium live event?
Yeah, I think what WWE offers right now, and let's take a premium live event as an example. I think it's the best form of entertainment around at the moment. I think, yeah, I proudly can say what the company offers right now, and I can proudly say I'm happy to be a part of that because it's characters and action, physicality, there's something there for everybody to enjoy. Um, and yeah, and as the numbers show recently, I think there's more excitement about our sport than there ever has been before. And I think everybody should be pretty much aware that we're in a golden era in the business right now. And yeah, realize that, emphasize it, and enjoy it on the way. And I think visiting Survivor Series is, if you've never seen WWE before or you never visited a premium live event, if you still can, watch Survivor Series. It's going to be a good example of why what we do is the best form of entertainment out there.
Yeah, as Gorilla Monsoon used to say, they're hanging from the rafters because I know at Survivor Series in Chicago, people will be hanging from the rafters. They'll be going bananas, as he would also say, because, dude, you got War Games, Intercontinental Championship, Rhea Ripley's on fire right now, Judgment Day business, what's going to happen with Damage Control with Bayley and new members. There is so much happening in the WWE, as you brought up. But like next year, rumors Paris, Berlin, and one of the members of Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser, this man is on fire right now on TV as well. Have you spoken to him about the excitement he has for next year's event in Berlin?
I mean, of course, we spoke about that, and the excitement is very equal because obviously he's German. I lived in Germany for, I don't know, 10, 12 years or something. I basically grew up in Germany wrestling-wise, if that makes sense. Like my career took place for the most part there, and yeah, it's fantastic because that was 10 years ago. That was so far away and so unrealistic that yeah, wrestling would be that big in Germany that actually they would come over here with a PLE. We just had a Germany tour. The numbers for that were fantastic as well. Like we had over 10,000 tickets sold in Berlin. Those are amazing numbers
I know.
for WWE in Germany. And yeah, you said Paris is a rumor. I hope that rumor is true. I think Paris is a fantastic city for wrestling. France itself has a huge history in professional wrestling and some of the most rowdy fans I've ever wrestled in front of. So I hope that works out as well. And in general, the expansion to Europe and especially also mainland Europe, because we're doing England or Scotland a bunch already. I hope that continues.
Same. Because this year I've been to every event this year, PLEs except for Crown Jewel because a 19-hour flight, and I said, I think I'll stay home for this one.
Yeah, that's a bit. But you've seen an event in Europe before, like in England or something.
Yeah, I went to Money in the Bank
Wrestling, so.
this year.
Oh yeah,
So
it's a completely different vibe from the audience. I don't say it's better; it's just different to the States, and I like that atmosphere. And yeah, I hope we continue going there.
I think it's the chants too. Like the chants in England, just completely different from in America. You hear a lot of whats and woos and hoes, but like in England they have all right, everybody, gather around. We're gonna practice the singing today, and everyone's singing the song. I'm like, what are we doing here? I love it.
But it's a cultural thing too, because so many people go to football games in Europe week by week, and those chants or those songs would often be coming from the football fans basically, and everybody knows the rhythm, and I guess for some reason they figure out what the lyrics are pretty quickly. So
yeah, they're good. I always enjoy them so much. Before we wrap this up, since Survivor Series is coming up, I know you have a one-on-one match, but let's talk about it. A fantasy Survivor Series team for yourself, past, present, future. Pick any wrestlers from wherever and put it together. A team. Any. And then we'll wrap it up.
That's 5 people, right?
We'll go with 5. You're the captain.
I'm the captain.
Captain.
I leave out Gio and Kaiser because obviously they would be first choices because otherwise we run out. But I would say Timothy Thatcher, Zack Sabre Jr., Billy Robinson, and Kenta Kobashi. I think those would be my guys.
Wow. I wouldn't mess with that team.
It's a killer team, I think, huh?
Yeah. The first team ever to go undefeated at Survivor Series was the Visionaries with Rick the Model Martel and his team in 1990. But I think your team would also be undefeated if someone even tried to step in the ring with that force. I'd be a little afraid. I'd be a little afraid. But all in all, I am so happy that today we beat Drew McIntyre's streak of 3-time interview here. No, Gunther 4 times. We'll have to make it 5 soon enough, but it's been a pleasure. I hope you slap around the Miz, teach him a lesson. And Survivor Series, again, next week, next Saturday, folks. It's going to be so exciting on NBC's Peacock. War Games, Intercontinental title, Women's Championships. Dude, I'm pumped, you're pumped, we're all pumped. And next time I see you, I will pay you to slap me. Just kidding, maybe not. But thanks again for being here, Gunther. I'm Steve Fall. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.